Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, answering some of your questions about visiting South America. A few months ago, we were in Ecuador, and we asked to put out a video saying, hey, what are some of your questions about visiting South America? And so I have a list of some of the more popular ones that came up more often, and probably the one that came up the most was, do I have to speak Spanish to go to South America? Well, no, you don't have to speak Spanish to go to South America. My parents don't speak Spanish, and they're doing just okay down here. One thing I will say, though, is if you do speak Spanish, it is a lot easier to get things done, and you really have a much more robust, I would say, experience, being able to talk to people and go into the markets and chit-chatting and negotiating and bargaining and things like that. So it is a lot easier to go around when you do speak Spanish, but you don't have to speak Spanish. However, I will say this, is make sure you learn some basic Spanish before you go, because the gracias, the thank yous and the por favors, the pleases and stuff really go a long way to ingratiate yourself with the locals, and that really does help. So no, you don't have to speak the language when you come down here, but it does help if you do. And don't forget, here in Brazil, they don't speak Spanish, they speak Portuguese, okay? So it's slightly different than Spanish. If you do speak Spanish, you'll probably be able to read some of the menus, most of the menus and stuff like that, so it's not that huge of a difference, but there is some differences, but knowing a little bit will go a long way. Now, second question we got a lot of was about security and safety. Basically, is it safe to visit South America? Well, just like anywhere, there's safe parts of the continent and there's unsafe parts of the continent. In each country, there's safe parts, not safe parts. In cities, there's safe parts, not safe parts. I find in general, if you're going to where tourists are going to be going, there's a bigger police presence. There's usually more safety precautions taken there, so that is helpful. In general, I haven't had any problems visiting South America for the last, however many years I've been coming here, and I don't have any problems taking my kids here at all. There are some basic safety things I would say. One, if you do know the language, like I said, that does make you a bit safer because you can talk to people. But one of the big things is don't wear any bling. Okay, don't have your fancy rings, don't dress up super nice and things like that, because that can make you a target and you don't want that, okay? If you're going to be driving around, don't leave anything in your car of any value, okay, because people might break into it. So there's the basic safety stuff you have anywhere else in the world, you're going to have it here. Also, there are parts that are not safe. Going to Rio, I love Rio de Janeiro and I'd go back, but you got to be careful with the different parts you go to and things like that. You're going to go to stay at Leme Beach in Rio, not going to Ipanema and things like that, because Leme is a lot safer. And that safety thing really comes down to is I would talk to your hotel, hey, which part of town should we not go to? Which part should we do? Are there parts we can go to but just during the day? Because Boca in La Boca district in Buenos Aires, super touristy, really cool to go to, but at dark, outside the tourist area, you probably don't want to be there. So there's some things there. Another one people ask, what's like a best first country to go to if you're going to be going to South America? I think for me, for cultural visits, tourism infrastructure, things like that, your best bet is actually Peru, because you can go to Cusco and see the capital of the Inca Empire, and Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Incas and stuff like that. That's really cool. But Peru has a really good tourism infrastructure to get you around with flights, hotels, travel agencies, stuff like that. And so that is kind of like my kind of go-to first one to go to. If you want kind of a really laid back one that it's safe and it's laid back and you have a nice time, I'd say Uruguay would be a good one to go to for kind of like that safe, easy trip to South America. Though one person did ask, hey, what's the best, if I only have a weekend in South America? I'm like, wow, only a weekend? That's kind of tough. But I think if you only had one weekend to see South America, if you are to go someplace, I would go to Buenos Aires, because you have all these cool districts around the city to go check out. If you're there on a weekend, the San Telmo Market on Sundays is really cool. There's all kinds of amazing architecture there. Eating the beef and the red and drinking red wine there is fantastic. That'd be probably my go-to, just weekend trip. Another thing is you'll notice if you're trying to fly down to South America, the tickets can be a bit expensive. And so there was one question someone had is, hey, if the flight price is so high, are there any kind of tricks or tips you have about getting cheaper deals? Well, one thing I would say is you're going to see a big difference if you're going to fly into Sao Paulo, Rio, or Buenos Aires, maybe Santiago. There's there one set of really kind of expensive tickets. And then you have slightly cheaper tickets going to Lima in Peru and Quito in Ecuador. And I find that if you want a cheap flight into South America, that's where your cheap flight is going to Lima or Quito. And then you can use some of the airlines around here. LATAM is nice. I like Gol, Avianca. There's all kinds of regional airlines you can do around here. And those will be cheaper, so maybe that can cut out some of your price if you're going around, okay? Anyway, I hope this helps you know a few things. I really appreciate y'all writing and sending in the questions. If you have other questions about visiting South America or other places, let us know in the comments section below. And have a great time, and I'll say adios. Bye from Sao Paulo.